Hi, everybody. Welcome to Sunset Stitches. My name is Trevor Conquergood, and today is Digi-Talk number 5. And so I'm super excited to be here. I have Loren Conquergood in the house with me today, and we're going to bring Loren on here in a moment. Oh, there they are. How's it going, Loren? I
Going
can't hear
good.
you. Oh, now I can hear you. Yeah. Good. Great. Um, what have you been? How's your digitizing coming along? Are you working on your pansies?
Yep, working on my pansies. I've sewed out a couple of them. They look great.
I have your stitch outs
Yeah,
here. Loren is in the
yeah.
same home as me, but to avoid audio conflict, Loren is upstairs, in the kitchen with the pets, right? You got Ryder with you there and Poppy.
Yes. And I have my little treats for them.
Okay, well, I want to share. Let's do like the one where we're all happy, big happy family there. I wanted to show you guys just quickly what we're working on this week. So Loren's been working on her pansies, and I'm working on the Winnie the Pooh designs. And if you're a member of my workshop, number 4, or a member of the embroidery club, Trevor and Friends Embroidery Club, you can download the design. So the video is free, but I guess it's on YouTube and Facebook. But the if you want to get a discount to join Trevor's FTC workshop you don't need to do any of my past workshops. If you're looking to start with Trevor, I think workshop 4 is the perfect place to start. You can get the free power start classes and then start on the journey of workshop 4 and kind of binge watch like Netflix and catch up to the rest of us. But these are the designs for this week's Digi-Talk, right? So I did this is the latest little Winnie the Pooh, and it's in kind of a series of them. And then Leo did these cool pansies. And so yeah, that's it, you guys. Those are this week's downloads. The Winnie the Pooh is actually a series. I've been doing these kind of every week, a few more. And hi, Judy, how's it going? Vancouver, Washington. I bet it's a nice day out there on the coast. Or is it raining? Which is maybe a nice day on the coast. As most days seems to be. What am I going to do with all these? Well, I'm going to share them with my friends. So if you join Trevor and Friends Embroidery Club, you get them all. But I'm planning on making a quilt, was my thinking. So they're all in that line style. Can you see that as a cute quilt, Loren?
Oh, yeah, Winnie the Pooh quilt. Very cute.
Well,
Yes. Do we have any babies you can make it for?
Well,
Any babies?
Graham's there are babies in
Mhm.
our family, yes, but I was just thinking
Well, you like to have your
I might need
quilts and
some
stuff,
help is
so
all, because quilting is only something I'm learning about still. So I might
yeah.
search out for some help. What we're gonna do is so I'm gonna start sharing my screen. I did want to say though, if you guys are new and it's your first time here, we do a free font every week. And so if you visit this week, this is this week's free font. Hey Edna, how's it going from Oregon? This week's font is called Empire, and it's free until Friday, because every Friday we put up a new font. And Loren, are you going to come for Friday's video this week, Friday Live?
Absolutely. Free
Did you
Font
guys see the
Friday.
funny picture of me and Loren wearing the gray T-shirt? It doesn't fit me, Loren.
It fits me pretty good.
Ludwig is asking how she gets you her address because she want a postcard apparently.
Yeah, Sandra. Well, if you want to get me your thank you, was that last week, Nicholas? Because I think I asked you to follow up, because you remember we were kind of picking those winners at the last minute, and she's our YouTube winner from last week. You know what? All you need to do is reach out any way you want, but email Trevor at sunsetstitches.com. And I'm sorry we announced it last Friday, but we didn't email you, did we? On YouTube, it's kind of weird sometimes, because I can't, on Facebook, there's usually a way to send a direct message. Sometimes with YouTube, there's not, but I didn't do it last week. I think Nicholas and I might have crossed paths. This was the gray shirt I was just talking about. It's this kind of a new, let's call it a trend. Puffy foam has been a fun thing. We of course have puffy foam here in the studio. I've got big pieces of it, little pieces of it. R&K Distributing makes puffy foam. And of course, if you don't know, I work for R&K Distributing, you guys. I'm the software manager for R&K. And anyway, Friday, we're going to show how I made the shirt and how
I
to
love
do it.
the monochrome colors. The
You like
gray
the
and the gray. It's
monochrome?
very chic. Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know if chic's
Well,
the right word, but it's very,
you're sweet.
modern, hip.
My kids boofs me up. I'm modern. I did a bunch of testing before I got to that. There were things to learn. I've tried different kinds of foam, different thicknesses of foam, different product. T-shirts are one of the hardest ones to do, you guys, because they're stretchy, and so there are tips and tricks that I'm going to share for doing that, especially with the design, and getting the design right is the key, I think. And then the products, right? And I have an advantage because I have such a beautiful studio with all these cool products, and I really tried a bunch. Like I'm telling you guys, I stitched that TC, probably 12 times, different little samples that I made, just deciding which products I thought were going to work the best. But the truth is, you probably could use a lot of variety of products, and I've seen lots of different people making them, so I know that they don't all have my Floriani products. So then they might, but they didn't use them in their videos. So, hey Nick,
How do you wash puffy foam?
oh,
Someone's asking. An item with puffy foam.
you wash it. I would put it in the washing machine. I don't know of any special laundering instructions for puffy foam. That's a very good question, because I haven't actually even laundered this t-shirt yet that I just made. So maybe I will throw this in the wash tonight and we can talk about that on Friday. How did it turn out? Do you want me to put it in the dryer too? What is the consensus? I might do a little research on that to be able to get a good answer, because I don't know. Heat does shrink the foam, so maybe Judy says she's with me. My instinct was keep it out of the dryer too, Judy, but then again, I made a bunch of samples, so maybe I'll throw one of them in the dryer. How's that? So we can see if it really matters. Does it really matter? What if your kid washes it? Because that could happen, right? Your kid washed the shirt you made. So that's Friday, you guys. That's what we're doing Friday. But today, I wanted to keep doing my digitizing of the Winnie the Pooh. I'm working on the 100-acre wood. It seems like it's taken me forever, but it's quite a big design. Are these cool? Do you like that?
Very cool.
It's called Spiral. It's not Spirograph. Remember, I showed you my Spirograph. This is like the latest challenge for anybody that's doing my FTC workshop 4. This month's challenge is called the Spiral Design Challenge, and it makes them look very 3D, and it's super easy to do. I did a R&K weekly video for it. You could probably find that one on our R&K software club. And then we taught it in my workshop 4, a whole class on it. And so everybody's making their pieces now, but look at how cool. We should do a font like this. That would be cool to do, like the spiral. What do you say, Nick? Could we make a spiral font?
Probably.
He said probably. Yes, you can. Okay, so Nicholas is, if you guys don't know, the font master here at Sunset Stitches, and every week we have a new one that comes out. So thanks to everybody that's dropping by. If you wouldn't mind, Nick, to bring my PC up right now. And I don't see it in the that's my PC right there. I was going to switch over to my design. So yeah, here's the latest Winnie the Pooh design. And basically what I'm doing is putting the original pictures on the screen. So if you don't know, I guess recently, like whatever, maybe a couple of years ago now, the copyright expired on these things. And so in this tasteful way as I can, I'm trying to recreate these images and share them, and I'm sure that people will enjoy them. So this is the latest one, and basically what I said I was working on the 100-acre woods Well, this one's got like a whole journey to it. And it looks like I've gotten all the way back down to Piglet's house was where I'm at. But because and the reason I know where I am is because my black dot, right? And if you don't use the black dot, that's fine. It doesn't actually even come with the Floriani software. I guess that doesn't make sense. Of course, it's part of the Floriani software, but the reason I have a black dot is because I have more than one Floriani program. And the one that I'm using that comes with the black dot is actually called Sketch-A-Stitch. If you own Sketch-A-Stitch, you'll know, because you'll have this paintbrush right here. And that's what Loren's using for their pansies, right? Loren, you're using Sketch-A-Stitch, right, Loren?
Yes, that's my primary digitizing tool. I prefer the Sketch-A-Stitch. I'm very quick with the Sketch-A-Stitch. I did a design with the like shape tool, the typical normal embroidery design, and it took me so much longer to do. So
well, I'm a very good squiggle drawer with Sketch-A-Stitch.
Yes.
What I like about that program, you guys, is that when I click and drag, I can see a line, and when I let go, bingo, you got stitches, and it's very fluid. The little black dot is part of the Sketch-A-Stitch preferences, right? You can turn it off if it bothers you, right? But what it does is it lets me see where, when I do this, I know where I left off because but if I do this and I leave it in the middle, where do you pick up your line? And I guess only reason it would matter would be if you didn't want to have a jump. And so if I turn that preference back on, then I can just pick that up and keep her going, and so that's the idea, is where you finish. So all that said, when I open up my design before I started messing it up like that, all I had to do was glance at it to say, oh, I'm sitting, that's where I'm at, and so let's just, I thought it might be fun to do one start to finish for you guys, and then maybe toss it over to Loren and let Loren show us a little bit of their Sketch-A-Stitching. And so I'm kind of looking for one that I think I could do like without taking too long. So because Loren has the touchscreen laptop, I'm working from my desktop and I don't have a touchscreen. So for me to use Sketch-A-Stitch, I have to do it with my mouse, right? So I can come in here and I can, first of all, I might want to change my color to something that's a little more kind of contrasty, so it's easier to see it on my screen. And then, when I start clicking, I can follow these lines and sketch them, but it's not going to be as natural feeling as it would be for Loren working on an actual touchscreen, because the Loren could reach out with their hand and actually draw on this picture, whereas I'm being forced to kind of like follow the line and I just let go. So here, let me turn on 3D. Can you see what I drew? Like a little bit of the line. And then I'm realizing, just looking at that, I know right away what I forgot to do. You might not know, but I can tell by how many stitches there are in those lines. I forgot to set the image. And how big does this look to you? Because if you want to do it at 8 inches, you might have to sketch these lines more than once for them to seem kind of dark enough. See what I'm saying? But, and that's not wrong. And the point is, before you sketch anything, you got to set the size, right? You click on your backdrop tool and it tells you that it's 200 millimeters tall. And I was thinking more like 75, right? And now if you're a Canadian, that's easy to figure out. That means 3 inches. But if you're from America, you might want to right click on the ruler and change it on over into inches, in which case you can come in here and say, make it a 3-inch design. So that kind of goes with the other little ones that I've got that I was holding you guys, like this little Winnie the Pooh one. So the idea here is on my quilt, I'm going to have the little guys like out in but then I'm going to have the big picture stories, can't you see it? Okay, so anyway, I'm working on a quilt, but you guys can make it before you'll probably get yours done long before I do mine. do what you want with the designs, you guys. Just download them from Digi-Talk. You can put them on your kid's t-shirt tonight if you want to. But I've only done 6 or 7 of them so far, so I'm working on it, right? There's a whole book worth of pictures, you know. Okay, how do you get the Sketch-a-Stitch?
Yeah.
Sandra, I saw that. Yeah. You know, Sandra, I don't have a specific answer because it really depends on where you live, but it's a Floriani product. So anywhere that sells Floriani can get it for you. If you want help, you're more than welcome to reach out to me and I can help you find a retailer. That would be my pleasure. But that said, any Floriani retailer could get it for you. If you're in overseas and you're like, I don't have one local, you know, then I can help you figure out who would be a good one that will do a good job of supporting you. Once again, send me an email. I don't mind, but I don't sell it. But I do work on the updates for it, and I really do love it, and I teach with it all the time. So if you get it, you might want to check out my other classes. Now so if you have FTCU, this little thing is an add-on, right? Like Sketch-a-Stitch is probably in the $350 price point. You know, dealers can go less, but that's what I would kind of expect to pay for it. It's probably retails like $450 or something like that. Don't quote me. I'm not looking at the price list. Like I said, I don't sell them, but Sketch-a-Stitch is a cool standalone program. You don't even have to have all this other stuff, but when you blend them all together, it's kind of cool because I'll use Sketch-a-Stitch, but at the same time, I'm using a lot of my other tools, you know, so that's the best. You get the best of it that way. Okay, let me do this one and then toss it over to Loren. So I know that if I just hit 2 on my keyboard, I start making a run stitch line, and I like to kind of try and find the center of my image. Easiest way to do that would be to select it, you know, and right there, that's the center. And I don't know why, but I'm kind of weird this way, but I usually just like to start in the middle. So now that I know where the middle is, I hit 2 on my keyboard and I basically choose a point that's kind of close to there. I'll zoom in as close as, let's say, 600. But you know, between 300 and 600 is kind of my go-to distances to work at. And notice when I pull my mouse away from my first button, it tells me how far I've gone. So I'm not using Sketch-a-Stitch to do this. I could. It would go faster. I agree with Loren, and I love Sketch-a-Stitch. But for the ultimate control, you click, you know, as the reality is this way I can be very exacting with every one of my kind of click points. And I can kind of gauge how long they are as I pull this and whether or not I think they're going to be successful, you know, and I think that's really the key of it. Now, I don't know. I'm trying to hit some of these little details because I think they're supposed to be like his face, you know, and you might be like, well, okay, so let me stop. That's what it would look like right now. So I'm doing a single run line. Sometimes these outer lines that look darker to me, I go over them like 2 or 3 times, and you know, and then the lighter ones that look like just little, like I try to do them like 1 or 2 times. Does that make sense? So I can totally go back up this line here, head on back down the road, you know, coming on.
I think that square there.
What's that?
Square there is in his eye.
So what is it? Tell like me what you see. Eyebrow. How did is the square wrong?
In the mirror, the eye's more where that triangular point you've had. Anyway, it's not it just looks like an eyebrow.
Is that wrong? Should I take it out or is it okay?
He's a very big forehead. Well, it's not his eyeball. If you look at him, that makes him very funny looking.
So, but okay.
That's only my opinion.
When you see it at actual size, it's going to be barely a bump on the road was all. And I just kind of saw a bump on the roads. Oops, that's not what I wanted to hide the stitches. I don't know why I thought I saw, if you were, maybe what this really is the artist drew this line, picked their pencil up and then started there and drew that line.
Yeah.
Could that be, it's hard. It's an eyebrow.
Yeah. That's what we'll say.
Yeah. So yeah, because this is his mouth. That's the eyes. There's the top of his head. I see what you're saying. So that's definitely not his eye. Thank you.
That would be very funny looking Pooh Bear.
But okay, so all that said, if you decided you've changed my mind, it's very easy for me to select my first piece that I drew and take my shape tool and just select all those points and go delete and enter. And there, get rid of that mess. Now, if I was like, yeah, but okay, so I'm here and I'm going to walk down that line again. So when I walk down that line again, this time, what I can do is I can kind of go like this, and like that, and it'll make it somehow heavier, if that mattered to you. Yeah. So anyway, I kind of did like a part of his face and I stopped and kind of changed directions, but there's no right or wrong here. As long as you get the lines. I mean, I'm trying to interpret. I always forget, is it Mr. Shepherd that's the artist? I know it's Milne is the author, but I think it's Shepherd that drew these babies, and they're just little on the books, right? Like this one here that I'm drawing was probably a really small illustration, is what, like in the corner of the page, it's I always leave the number. So this one's Winnie the Pooh _36, which I think means it's on page 36 of the actual book. Anyhow, yeah, and you just kind of click around. If I shut up and just work, I timed it. The one that I made for today, that the one that's already done, from page 82, illustration number 2, this little honey jar one, I did it in 15 minutes, like start to finish kind of thing. So once you get going, and if you just stop talking and start, so here, you talk for a while, Loren, tell us, the stage is yours.
Hello. Now I don't know what to talk about.
Tell us what you did today.
Oh, well,
Show us your new shirt. You can bring
Nicholas bigger.
Bring Loren bigger so they can see her new shirt. I'm just working here.
Cool new shirt. At least I can stand up. Fashion ladies.
Bring it for temporarily.
Yeah. I got my tax return back, and so I just wanted to get some money or some work clothes. And so I got some cute clothes for work. I work at a coffee shop, and you have to wear all black.
Yes.
So I don't have a lot of black clothes. I'm a very colorful person, so you got to go get some new black shirts.
That is so true. You are very colorful. Like your wardrobe is almost entirely color.
Yeah, very colorful.
Well, there you have it. So now you're building some black into your wardrobe, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
What kind of computer do you sketch on, Dad?
What's the question, Nick? What kind of computer do I sketch on? Now, that's a really good question. I was actually helping several people this week actually asked me about computers. Maybe it's an interesting video to do, but first of all, I love my Mac. I'm currently working on my Mac. But that said, I have no touchscreen capabilities on my Mac. So I do own more than one computer. And so Loren actually has my Windows touchscreen laptop. Ours is the brand name Acer, and it's called an Acer Spin. I think that I had originally a Spin 5, and then it got a little bit older and the battery wasn't holding its juice anymore. And so I wanted to replace it. And so I got a Spin 3, which was a little bit less money. And I got it as a refurb, Loren. So that computer you're working on, it feels like almost like it feels mint. I've barely used it, but it was what they call a repack or a refurb, or, on Amazon. it meant somebody else had already bought it and returned it. And I don't know if they just didn't like it or even if they ever opened it. Because when I opened it, I got the packaging I got was brand new packaging. Like there was no, it was obviously repacked from fresh at the factory, and it looked brand new. It didn't have a scratch on it, and it made it the fraction of the price. Honestly, like I didn't pay, but I don't know, but it was definitely around the $500 mark Canadian, which is like almost nothing in American. I'm kidding. Anyhow, thanks. It's a good question. The truth is, I like a touchscreen laptop for a digitizing tool. I think I'm done. I have to, there's no more, this bear's done. I have to jump off to the next thing now. Yeah. I'm a Mac person, so I like having it all on my Mac, but I don't have the touchscreen. So if I had to buy a computer, I would buy a touchscreen laptop because it does give you kind of the best, especially a convertible one. I should say that too, right? That yours is, Loren, is yours convertible right now? No, probably not. Hey,
mine is set up like this to see my,
but you
see
can
my own
turn
keyboard.
it around.
That wasn't very good. My keyboard's down here, but I can, well, you can't be able to see it, but I can flip it so that instead of
no, they can't see it unless we
like
share.
this, all the way around. So the back is touching each other and it's a flat tablet. I can hold it in my lap like it's a tablet. It's very handy.
Do you go flat like a tablet, or do you go clamshell so it sits on the desk?
If I sit on a desk,
yeah,
I have it like a clamshell and I kind of prop it open because then you get a little feedback. Okay. But you can sit on your couch. I don't typically sit on my couch to digitize. It's just a little bit like, it's actually not very comfortable because of the computer, but you could stick it right on your lap and do all kinds of doodling. Just right from your couch watching Golden Girls or whatever show you like.
Golden Girls.
I don't know what shows people watch. Watching Adventure Time.
Grandma liked Golden Girls. You're probably not far off. I liked Three's Company. That was the one that when Grandma lived here, that was my favorite kind of replay or rerun or whatever. But yeah. So like I'm almost done my little Winnie the Pooh one here. When I'm done, I'm going to toss it over to you and see if you want to show us an update on your pansies, Loren, while I keep working on my 100-acre wood. So can you see here where it's almost to the point where I can't really understand the marks other than they were like hatching or, like shading, right? So I think it's okay to just put some thread down that kind of covers the lines. It's close enough for me anyway. The main thing I think that makes the sketching interesting is trying to interpret it so that some lines are, like I said, heavier, and then some lines are not as heavy, so that it gives a little bit of depth to it. I mean, obviously, if you were wanting to add depth, you could like take a whole nother color, right? Like, here's where Loren would excel with their like sort of artistic skills that that might not come as easily for everyone. But the point is, I could, if there was, where would he be shading like the darker area? So then you come in and you're like, I think I'm just going to put a little bit of shading on his butt with another color, and maybe a little bit more in his belly here. And so it's not wrong to have a second color and be like, on the bottom of his feet should be a darker area, and just throw in some grays to your sketch, or I don't know. Again, not wrong, but it wasn't in the original, so I just decided to ditch that idea and not add it. But you can see what I'm talking about. It's once you have it here, select all this and then click on the delete. So yeah, where did I get to? I seem to, when I get back to the beginning, I have to get those lines because I can see I should have done them at the beginning, but I'll walk back there and catch them. So I'm just going to keep on going. And so what were you telling us about anyways, Loren? You were talking. I'm supposed to be working.
Well, I'm not sure. I was excited about my pansies. I started sewing them yesterday. There's quite a few, so it's a process to make them all sewn.
Mm-hmm. They're appliques.
They are applique. I applique down the fabric first, and then the sketching goes on top of the applique, which is pretty cool because it gives it depth. The flowers are on a green fabric because flowers are in green settings. And since it's a purple flower, if there wasn't any applique underneath, it would be, the lines of the Sketch-A-Stitch would not fully cover that fabric and you don't really get that pop. So the applique is really interesting for that reason, because I can make the colors really different from the background.
Well, I'll tell you what I like about it, because I was sort of looking at them and I was like, these would be beautiful in a quilt or anything light like a t-shirt, because there's so little weight to it, their stitches per inch would be really low if you were to calculate, like, the area, because I often teach that, right? Like length times width, the square area. Is kind of funny because Lorna teaches that to the grade sixers, how to do this. But I figure out the square area and then I divide it by the number of stitches. So if you're a little pansy, like how big are they?
Around 2 to 3 inches. I kind of tried to make them all in that.
I'll show you when we switch on the screen.
Range.
I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about. We'll measure it and calculate it and show how light they are. And anyway, I think I've just about got this design done now, but I missed a couple. I know that I'm going to do that reflection of the eye, but I don't want to connect that. I connected pretty much everything else. I left this whole like mirror bit as an island, but notice, I didn't, I'm going the wrong way here. I'm trying to get back down to where I came from, and it's, I'm totally heading the wrong way. I've already been up that way. I need to head back this way now from here, kind of along the road that I came from, back to the beginning. And what I was saying was I'll go back to the very beginning because there was a couple of lines I missed. Oh, look, I think I'm done, but I'm not. It's better zoom out, Trevor. You still got this line to do too. But that's kind of how I do it, right? Did you see how I zoom out and I take a look? I will work, this is 400%, and that's close enough. If you want to make that gap there, that's not wrong, especially if you can connect it from both sides and it's not like, I call them islands. When you have to jump, like the eye would be an island. There's no other connecting line. If I connect that eye to it, it'll detract from the overall design, and you need to. So those are the times where you want to jump. The rest of the design, really, my main goal was just to walk around and kind of sew it all and not have any, and have as least jumps as possible. Like I said, some lines I'm going to do 3 times or 4 times. And some lines I might just do kind of like 1 or 2 times. One is hard unless it's like a loop or something, because you can't just walk out a branch and then not walk back, down the branch again. Because if you don't walk back down the branch, you end up having to make a jump that's not necessary, right? If these lines actually touch the rest of the lines, that's the time where I think it's a little bit of a mistake, to not connect them. Now here, there's this one, and you have to kind of decide where you're going to, how. I don't want to make it an island. So I'll come to here, walk over, make a line, and then walk back, something like that. So it kind of doesn't look like it's connected. I probably could have just connected it to one of these, but I think it'll look nicer when I'm done, having them with a little bit of a break like that. So yeah. So all we're missing that I didn't do, I think, is just this eye then, right? We've gotten everything done now. So here's this eye. Look, it's not very big. If I click to get started and I pull my thing, that's a one, all the way across is barely 1 millimeter. And that's my minimum sort of stitch length that I like to make. And so I'll do it at 1.3, and then I'll make the next one, 1.5, and I'll make the next one 1.6, and I'll make the next one 1.4, and I'll make the next one 1.4. And so the whole thing becomes like a little 5-pointed star. But when you sew that out, I promise you that little star will look like a dot. When you look at that at 1-to-1 actual size, the best. And if I hide, now you can't see it because my what am I trying to call it, Lorraine? My last stitch marker is in the way.
Stitch marker.
Yeah, there you go. So if I hide my artwork, so it doesn't look like a star anymore, but it'll make a small dot at the end of the day. Yeah. That's kind of a little trick, what do we call the star dot. So there, I did another one. I'll stitch that one out and you guys can get it next week, along with, hopefully by then I'll have the 100 Acre Woods done. It's been kind of last week when it's just such a busy week with classes, and this week's not as bad. I'm doing good. Here are Loren's stitch outs. These are gorgeous, Loren. I love what you're doing with so can you see what Loren was saying is it's an applique, you guys? So it's green fabric and there's very light stitching under it. So they've got, is it like a violet? Can you kind of see it there?
Yes, very light purple. I think the color of the, most of the thread.
Yeah. So it becomes the background. So then you don't have to do so much sketching and not have a green flower, right? Because if Loren didn't put if you're sewing this on a pink shirt, skip the applique step. You don't really need it, right? But if you want to sew it on a blue shirt, well, you could have blue pansy. So that, but if you want to put it on a black shirt and you don't want there to be black kind of in the background of the flower, that's when you add the fabric in. So I thought that was brilliant that you added the fabric in like that, Loren. Nice job. Yeah. Hey, question, Nick?
Yeah, I have two. Leo was asking, what width of pen do you use? And then Suzanne was asking if you're going to ever do classes for Sketch-A-Stitch.
Nice. Good questions. So Lee asked, what width of pen do you like to use? So I don't know if that is even a thing. Like, I'm not sure what she means by that. Do you mean like the pen on the screen kind of thing? Like, because the one that Leo's using came with it, right? So it's just there's just the one, and it looks like a ballpoint pen. Show them the tip. Can you bring the tip kind of close? It looks like a bit of a ballpoint pen. It's almost like a ballpoint pen, but that doesn't draw on it.
Well, the width of the pen tip does not matter because it is going to be your computer settings. If you're using it for a drawing software, that's going to be controlled on your drawing software. If you're using it for Sketch-A-Stitch, the width of the line is going to be controlled on Sketch-A-Stitch, so on and so forth. This one is really thin, and it's okay for me because I have a lot of dexterity and
the size of that pen is small. Yeah, because
very small. There's pens that Trevor has in his cup holder.
This is my pen. Yeah, and it feels a lot more like a pen.
It's exact same size.
You can buy. I bought. This one was like a Best Buy purchase, right? That's an actual pen.
Yes, but it looks exactly the same.
Okay, yeah, but so this is not a pen though. It's an actual drawing stylus that works with a touch screen. And I bought this one separately, but the one that Leo's got came with the laptop. It's just a little tiny one. Do you like it tiny like that?
I like the convenience of it. It's very nice to have it always in the computer.
Well, that's what I like. It's inside. You never don't have it. You always got it with you. Yeah, it fits in it. Yeah, it's an Acer spin. But to answer that, Lee, when you sew it, the width of the line is actually controlled by the thread that you choose. So when we draw it, we're only assuming that you're going to use a 40s weight thread, but that is not a rule, is it, you guys? So yeah, because you can use any width of thread that you want, and then that will make your lines thicker or thinner. That is an interesting topic to talk about. Loren, do you want to share your pansies? And what was the other question? Suzanne wanted to know if we're going to do some classes for Sketch a Stitch, like a workshop. I do have a Sketch a Stitch training disc that I made for Floriani and that they sell, and that I've been intending to get put onto our website. So it's something that's actually on my to-do list. And at that time, I'm planning on adding some more sketching classes. But the real truth is, I have already done quite a bit of it, and it's just a matter of I haven't got it on my website yet. And the disc is available from RNK, but we will do some new classes. Thank you for offering, Suzanne, and I'll make sure that you get included in them. So Leo, share your screen. There we go. Yeah, that's what I wanted to see. Your pansies.
Previous pansy. Yeah, what do you want to know? They're all kind of.
I just wanted to get an update. I wanted to see what you're working on. So last time we were here, it looked like you had a whole sheet of them, or like it was like you had done a whole group.
Yeah. So if I open,
are these the same designs? Like, did you do more, or is this just you separated them?
Yes, there's the same designs, and the reason why they're separated is because these are smaller. They're they're the size that they are because that's going to fit on the hoop that we use.
Got it.
And then these ones are on this hoop because I sewed them and I kind of thought they were really dense here, and dense is really pretty for like the dense is nice because of the like if you were not appliquing it, you'd want it denser, but since they were appliqued and I like my thread to be a little less dense, I just made them bigger. Okay. The Sketch a Stitch thread, like when you size it, is different than sizing a regular design, right, Dad?
That's exactly right. What happens is when you sketch the lines, those become the lines. And so you can make it bigger or smaller, but they'll still be the exact same amount of lines. And that's different than like when you do an embroidery fill, because with an embroidery fill, if you make it bigger, it makes new stitches, but it keeps the space between the lines the same. Whereas here, if Leo sketches it at 2 inches and the thread is all close together, but then if you resize it and make it 4 inches, that means the thread would be a little bit further apart because it doesn't add stitches in between the line. Whatever you've drawn are simply the lines. Maybe turn on your 3D and click off. Don't click anywhere outside of the design yet. And then turn on, it's at the there you go. And click on slow redraw. So it's the play at the top right there. Yeah, click play. Yeah, so we can see this is your, yeah, that's the placement line. Place your fabric down. Sews again, tack down line. And then you trim after that second color. And so now you can see how kind of open those sketching is and how Leo's kind of just doing it, adding it in like that. So yeah, we watched you do it. Was it last week or was it 2 weeks ago? I think it was 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago.
Because I did the applique last week.
Yes. And see, I make them quite dense as of lately. A while ago when I was making these, I had kind of a really light style and I kind of just knew where to stop. Whereas I kind of feel like I need to fill it in more on this, and it's just not true. See, I'm going back over it in the slow redraw. I've gone back over it, and that makes the colors more vibrant, but there's something about the openness that works really well with the applique. And it works really good on white fabric, but not necessarily dark fabric, colored fabric.
Or contrasting colors, maybe more.
Contrasting, yeah.
But so it's interesting that what you're saying is you sketched them smaller, but you felt they were heavy, and so you just decided to make them larger rather than resketch them. It's kind of well, that's a nice thing when you're doing something for kind of a stock design, is you get the chance to you can just make that decision. Oh, these were meant to be 4-inch flowers. How big are they? They're not 4. They're not dense at all, Loren. I don't know why you think that, because they're very light. And this is that one that we just saw that Leo is slow drawing right now, and it is not dense in any way. Maybe if it was 2 inches, it would be, though. See, because you can kind of see that area, how much of the coverage it is.
Yes, so this design is 3 inches. I've made it a 3-inch design.
But here's the thing. I was going to teach you this, so let's learn this. So it's 3 inches by what? Select it again.
It's 3 by 3, basically. Not quite exactly, but
select all. So it says 2.91 by 2.96. It tells you. So rough math, we'll go 3 by 3, right? So 3 times 3 is 9, right? That's 9 square inches. The design covers 9 square inches. And at the top of your screen, we can't see it because it's too small. You have to tell us what it says there. What number is 6,000 or how many?
Yep, 6,123.
Okay, 6,123. So now,
sorry,
because I'm 56 years old, I get to use my calculator because that's my prerogative. Because I'm going to have to do math right now. But I'm going to take so what do you say, 56,000 or 5,600?
6,100.
It's 6,100?
6,100.
At the top of the screen. Okay. 6,100 divided by 9 square inches. That's 677 stitches per inch. So it kind of gives you a range. What you'll find is that every embroidery design you could apply that little formula to, and it gives you an idea of how, and I always say that in the numbers of 2, 3, 400 are like the lightest of designs, very open. And when you get into the 5, 6, 700, they're like light embroidery that's starting to become filled in, like fully filled in. And when you get into 800, 900, 1,000 and above, there's mostly fills, maybe little bits of white spaces. When you look at your design, Loren, and you put a square around it, there are some white spaces, that are, and that affects this whole, how, if your design has a lot of white space, then it'll, make it lighter. But it's just a tool that kind of in general says to you, if you took the same design and made it 2 by 2, like, can you do that? Like, just select it, go back to the same design, and then resize it to 2 inches. You can do it in the properties box on the right if you you copied it. Well, that's fine too. So then make that 2 inches. Yeah, it's the second last one on the right. That one, yeah. And you can just literally click on inches, or you can, in metric it's 50. Yeah, inches. Yeah, 2. So this is kind of the point that with a you'll have to just undo because you didn't have it wasn't checked for ratio. Oh, okay.
Well,
so you got it.
It's not quite the same, but it was rough, right? It was good.
Okay, so now it's a 2-inch instead of a 3-inch.
Yes, it's 2 by 2.
So 2 by 2 is 4, right? So we know that the difference there. And don't select all anymore. So click off. Click and drag just to select your small pansy. Now this time we're going to get the information from the bottom below your color bar at the right.
Total stitches is 4,500 4,500.
Okay. So here's the thing. Originally we had one that was 9 square inches and it was 6,100. Now we've made it smaller and it's going to be 40. What did you say? 49?
4,500.
4,500. But it's now 2 by 2. So 2 times 2 is 4. So that's a 4 square inch pansy. So now it's 1,000 stitches per inch. So that's kind of the thing with Sketch-A-Stitch is when you sketch the lines and you resize them, they become more dense at smaller sizes. And the opposite, if you make it 4 inches instead of 3, if you took it from your 3 to 4, it would get even lighter. And then you would have, maybe then it would be 400 stitches per inch. So just know that when you sketch lines, you're not sketching fills, and that's the main thing that I think a lot of people, when they read that, they buy the Floriani software and they know that they can resize their designs. But resizing details like run stitches is very different than resizing fill stitches. Yeah. That's a beautiful pansy, Loren. Great job. Yeah, Sharon says, I love the pansies. They are so realistic. So that is very nice of you, Sharon. And Sharon says, sorry, I'm joining late. Well, you're never late. Sharon, whenever you get here is the perfect time for us. But if you want to catch the beginning, you can always roll backwards and see it all. So Cindy says, you're very talented, Loren. The truth is, Loren's been doing this for a long time. I mean, aside from the fact that they just finished their Bachelor of Fine Arts, they started. Did you tell me already how many years ago you started digitizing?
Do you think I started when I was 12? Maybe 14, high school? It's probably been 10 years.
It's 10 years.
Yeah.
So a third generation digitizer with a decade of experience. Well done. Do you want to show us a few of your other pansies before you flip it back over to me, and I'll wrap things up?
This is number 2. So 1 and 2 are, I'm still drawing that one. Kind of different colors. I like that they were all kind of different colors.
Do you still have the picture of them all together? It's kind of cool to see them like in a sheet like that. Is that still open?
There it is. So these ones are dense. These ones are the 2 inches around.
Yeah, you're making them bigger so that they're to lighten them up. I get it. Makes total sense.
These are 200. Now, I think this one's kind of funny because it's from a different angle, but I thought it was still pretty, like.
Yeah, that one doesn't relate to me. It's sort of like, where's the is it an unopened pansy or something, or what's that? It's just a different angle. It's like the bottom.
I gotta pretend that one's
it's the bottom of the pansy. I can see it now. It's like coming from the underneath or something.
Like this part, coming from the underneath, sort of.
Okay, or whatever. That's that's what it is to me, anyway. I don't know. Great job, Loren. Really, thank you for sharing that with us today. It's great to have you. It's great. I was just talking to Nick. I'm like, hey, that was fun having Loren. Maybe sometime I'll get him to come on and share what he's been working on, because Nicholas is digitizing here full time, and Loren I just get on occasion, right? They come by here, so
part-time.
Thank you for helping out and doing some nice designs for us. Loren is also helping me finish up Trevor and Friends Embroidery Club Season 2. And so if you guys don't know about our embroidery club, you can ask us more or check it out. But anyway,
lots of very cool
look
designs.
Look at my cute little
yes, I was noticing it.
It's a
turquoise.
It's a magnet.
Wow.
You can keep your snips handy. I'd say you could put pins on it, because you can, right? You could put pins on it, but I have the pin. The whole thing is like got a wrist pin keep, that you can put that on. So when you're quilting, I always get the latest Quilter Select stuff. They send me it's like getting a little box of Christmas presents when they have new things that come out. But the new jewel tools are a big hit. These are the ones that the jewel tools.
What are those for?
This is like a seam press, Loren. That is not true turquoise, by the way. This is reconstituted turquoise, and I don't know if you know about that, but it's environmentally conscientious thing that there's just, you don't want to be taking the turquoise, I guess. I don't know a lot about it myself, but I understand that ours is not made from true turquoise. You might find that if you went to Arizona
turquoise
and you dealt with like a First Nations person, they might have true turquoise jewelry, you know, that's actually turquoise, but this is reconstituted turquoise. But it really does look beautiful. It's actually just a magnet that you can put anywhere you want to, and it's got cute little quilt kind of block logo on there, quilt star logo on. Anyway, these are from Quilter Select. So anywhere that sells Quilter Select, you will find these cool little jewel tools like that. I'd stick my stuff with pins on that magnet. That's what Chris said. Well, you know what? I can get that. The one on the wrist tends to end up just being on my desk as much as it does on my wrist, kind of thing. But this one I quite often do put on when I'm doing a lot of embroidering, and I keep my I literally keep my snips on my shirt, and it sounds crazy, but are you not forever looking for your snips? Like,
I know I am.
Especially when I'm sewing on multiple machines sometimes, and so I'm like, where did I leave my snips? Oh, they're on the cutting table. No, by the computer. No, sewing machine. No, you know, and it's just now they're here. Anyway, hey guys, it's great to have you visit Sunset Stitches on Wednesday for Digi-Talk. I've been working on digitizing Winnie the Pooh. Lorena's been working on pansies, but that is not the only types of embroidery designs that we work on here. And so if you kind of visit throughout the weeks, you will see different things. Last week I did layered applique. It was kind of by request, but so we take requests, and if you would really love, I think I remember somebody saying logos, you know, show us how to do logos. Well, now you're right up my alley, because I spent 25 years digitizing logos. And so Cindy says I'm always looking for my seam ripper. So true. And Phyllis says good idea for my snips. So thanks, you guys. They are good ideas. Friday is going to be extra special fun. I'm not just going to show you guys pictures. We're going to make one. You know, it's like we're going to do it live. No hiding behind it. When it's live, it's live. We'll get a I'm not sure what exactly we're going to make, but I think it'll be a sweatshirt, or maybe it'll just be another t-shirt. I want to show you the last little thing about this. I was experimenting with denim. You know, I don't know about you guys, but I keep all the old clothes. This was a kid's shirt. I don't know if it was Lorenz or Reese's, but you know, and now I'm using them. I cut them up and sample on them. So I have tubs of jeans and stuff like that. But the effect looks really cool on the denim. But can you sense a cool stitch? Because I used kind of like a dash stitch. Can you see that? It's like a mock sashiko, or I don't know if it really is, but I was going to try and make it even more dramatic. So what you have here is a combo stitch. It's a 5-ply bean with a single in between.
Oh,
so it does 5, and then and it's a 5-ply at 3, and then a single at 1. And I was going to do another sample and maybe try at 5 at 4. I make the dash even bigger, and then single at 1, or maybe even 0.5. But yeah, so it's kind of like a mock sashiko look to decorate it with.
I think the software is so cool. We can make all kinds of faux designs. You know, it's like faux hand embroidery, faux sashiko.
Sashiko, yeah. Good
sashiko, you know? Looks like hand quilting. Yes, that's
said
exactly
it. Looks like hand quilting. Well, sashiko.
Kind of cheating.
A true sashiko stitch, they put the needle in and out, and so there's a gap in between. So I'm trying to emulate the gap without actually having a gap, because in embroidery, a gap means a thread, because of course we've got thread top and bottom that have to stay connected. But with hand embroidery, you can put that needle down and bring it up in another spot, you know. And I think that's where the lot of things that you can do with hand embroidery that we cannot do with machine embroidery. And you're right, a lot of the things that we do end up trying to emulate the beautiful things that we know have been done with the hand embroiderers. So yeah, Thank you so much, Nicholas, for manning the controls here. Nick says he's willing to share some designs with us and get on and do some digitizing for us. So we'll work that out for next week or maybe a week after that. But it's almost the top of the hour, and I just want to thank everybody who came today. Thank you, Loren, for participating, and thank you, Nicholas, for also participating and helping. And thank you to all of our friends for stopping by Sunset Stitches today, checking us out. What do you got to say, Loren? I'll let you give the last words.
Stay safe.
What?
Thank you for all the pens you love. Makes me feel very special that all you guys really like them.
Suzanne said that would be a cool stitch in is that in FTCU? The truth is, Suzanne, it's only possible with FTCU. I don't know of any other programs that can do it. But it's a setting, and I can teach you how to do it. If you're real good with it, you click on the bean stitch. You know how to if you know how to turn on a bean stitch, there's an option called a varying bean. So instead of being a single bean, 5, 5, 5, you can do a varying bean where you can do one that's 3 and one that's 5 and one that's 7 and one that's 9. So it's called you can do 5, 3, 5, 5, 2, 5, 6, 5. You can't do 6. It's always an odd number, 3, 5, 7, 9, because it has to go forward eventually, right? So forward, back, forward is 3, and then on to the next one. So you can do 3, you can do 5, you can do 7, you can do 9. And with the software, I can do up to 6 variants, and I control the number of plies for each variant and the length of each variant. It's fascinating.
Wow.
There are things in the Floriani software that are very professional, if you want to call it that. It's just, there's a lot of control that when you learn. So Suzanne, that is something that if you understood what I said, it's the setting. When I share, because I'm going to share on Friday some designs, and I will share a WAF file. All you have to do is open up my WAF file, and then you can see my settings, right, for the Sashiko. But that is a stitch that I don't know of any. Maybe some of the other ones have caught up to us, but Floriani invented that stuff, and so it's actually been in there for quite a few years. The ability to do a varying bean stitch. It's only
years.
You just don't use it every day, right? It's one of those specialty things. Oh, that's cool. But I used it to make a mock Sashiko. So that's when I'll show it on Friday, and I'll bring it up and I'll share the file with it for everybody. I mean, I can share a file with it, but literally it's just, you have to know how to set the settings, and then any design can be done that way. Suzanne says that's why they call it Total Control U. And you're totally right, because compared to most sort of home softwares and that sort of domestic price point, most of them don't really give you the control that you want as a professional, at times, and that's not, it also means more learning, right? The more buttons they give you, the more stuff to learn about, but you don't have to know what every button does to get good results. The reality is you just need to know the basics. If you get through Trevor's 4 workshop Power Start classes, you would have at least learned about the basics. And then after that, you're capable of going forward and learning on your own, and you might be dangerous because just enough to be dangerous, but you can have fun with it, right? And what are you going to do but waste some thread? It's fun. And as you guys can all tell, Loren and I love to digitize, and so does Nick. So it was great having you guys. Thank you so much. I look forward to having everybody back on Friday for the Free Font Friday. And of course, this Friday we're doing an embossed project. So check us out. Yeah, thanks, Loren. And Loren's going to come Friday and help with the embossed project. Is that right?
Yes, of course.
I'll have both Nicholas and Loren in the studio with me. So we'll figure that out. It'll be something new, and it'll be fun. Anyway, guys, thanks, Vicky and Chris and Suzanne and Cindy and Phyllis, everybody that I can see that's making comments in the chat today. We appreciate you guys for coming by. And anybody that stops by after the recording, if you want to leave a comment, we'll be sure to say hi, and it's nice to know you were here. Until then, you guys, I'm going to let you go for now. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.
Have a great day.